This day started with a routine lecture about the true number and ended with a deadly game where each new crime is linked to a mathematical formula. Who can solve this puzzle before it's too late? Professor Arthur Selden gives a lecture to his students at Oxford about a brave soldier, philosopher, and mathematician named Ludwig Wittgenstein. This man continued his work even during active hostilities. He wanted to find the answer to the most important question: does truth exist? In 1993, an American student named Martin began studying at Oxford. He rents a room in a large, luxurious house of a rich woman named Mrs. Eagleton. Martin admits that he has an idol at Oxford, Professor Selden. Our hero knows absolutely everything about this man and literally worships him. Mrs. Eagleton replies that she has been friends with Selden for many years. Her daughter appears in the house. Her name is Beth. She's about 40 years old. In the evening, they all have dinner together. Beth admits that she's going to have a concert today. She's playing the cello in a local orchestra. In Oxford, Martin is shown his study. Our hero dreams that Professor Selden will become his supervisor. But there are rumors that he has not been working with students for a long time. Martin arranges a tennis practice for himself. A pretty dark-haired girl named Lorna is watching him with interest. He tells her that he uses mathematics to make his every move precise and correct. Lorna joins him and they have a wonderful game. Beth notices her new neighbor in the company of a beautiful girl and is very jealous. Martin replies that he lives a free life and advises Beth to do the same. In the afternoon, she knocks on the window of his shower room and hands Martin a newspaper with information about Selden's new lecture. In this lecture, the professor quotes Wittgenstein's logical and philosophical treatise and denies the possibility of absolute truth. To impress his idol, Martin starts arguing with him. He says he thinks mathematics is absolutely true. For example, he believes in the number pi and in many other mathematical axioms. Instead of supporting him, Professor Selden humiliates him, ridicules his arguments, and makes an idiot of him in front of a large audience. Martin is so disappointed with his idol that he wants to drop out of Oxford and starts packing his things. In the office, our hero meets his colleague, a student named Potterov. He's also a mathematician, and for some reason he's also very angry with Selden. Martin returns home and notices Professor Selden in the courtyard. It turns out that he came to visit Mrs. Eagleton. Martin and Selden enter the room and see Mrs. Eagleton there without signs of life. Martin gives evidence to the police. He talks about how his day went. After that, the police interrogate Selden. The professor admits that he received a note with Mrs. Eagleton's address. There was an inscription on it, the first of the series, and also a circle was drawn. But the fact is that the man threw away this note. Selden is sure that the criminal attacked Mrs. Eagleton to take revenge on him for some kind of insult and to prove his high intelligence. The professor believes that the circle is the first sign of a logical sequence. This means that a new crime will occur soon. Selden tells Martin that Mrs. Eagleton suffered from terminal cancer and would not have lived more than a few months anyway. Martin assumes that an unknown person is committing an inconspicuous crime. That is, he chooses people who are going to die soon so that everything looks like an accident. Professor Selden comes to the Philharmonic and tells Beth the sad news. Martin secretly watches her reaction. The girl doesn't look upset at all. In the evening, Beth enters Martin's room. She admits that the police interrogated her for 2 hours and considers her the main suspect. Beth had been caring for her sick mother for 5 years and wanted it to end as soon as possible. Our hero is trying to support her. The girl wants to spend the night in his room. Martin refuses her, but then asks the girl to return to him. The next day, Potterov shows Martin the latest edition of the local newspaper. He is sure that either Selden or Martin committed this crime. Selden and Martin are trying to recreate the picture of this crime, but they have absolutely no leads. If there are no other crimes, they will never be able to find out the truth. Martin is dating Lorna again. They begin a romantic relationship. Lorna admits that she also knows Professor Selden. She works as a nurse at the hospital, and Selden comes there almost every day to visit his friend. The next day, Martin arrives at this hospital and secretly follows Selden. The guy talks to some religious fanatic, and then meets with Lorna. Our hero finds out that the daughter of this religious fanatic urgently needs a lung transplant, but they can't find a suitable donor. Martin finds Seldam. They visit a student named Kelman together. This man is suffering from terminal cancer and has almost lost his mind. He was a brilliant mathematician and taught children with a high level of intelligence. Then he started working in a psychiatric hospital, and soon he went crazy too. And soon he was diagnosed with incurable cancer. His bones were collapsing, and his brain was collapsing with them. Kelman decided to have a lobotomy and ended up in this hospital. Now he draws incomprehensible symbols and repeats only 4 letters. Beth comes to Martin and makes a jealous scene for him. She doesn't want to be just a friend to him. The offended woman runs away, and Martin tries to catch up with her and almost knocks Potterov down. He notices a note on the door with the words, St. Joseph's Hospital, and a new sign. These are 2 intertwined arcs. Martin calls Lorna and informs her that a new crime has occurred in her hospital today. All right, the patient, who was lying in the room with Kelman, suddenly stopped showing signs of life. There was a needle puncture on his arm. The police decide that it was some kind of lethal injection, but they need to wait for the conclusion of the pathologist. Random draws both shapes from this sequence. It's a circle and 2 intertwined arcs. It is unclear what unites them and what the third symbol will be. The police really don't like this explanation. In the evening, Martin buys flowers and accidentally runs into Seldam on the street. It turns out that Lorna invited them both to dinner at the restaurant at the same time. Both men are very unhappy about this. Lorna says that no poison was found in the body of the last victims, and this is very strange. Seldam mockingly announces that Lorna is the main suspect because she works at this hospital. The girl says that she has no motive, and then the professor confesses to Martin that he and Lorna once had an affair. The offended girl leaves the restaurant, and Martin and Seldam continue to drink and discuss these strange crimes. Martin visits Beth and learns that she is preparing for a big concert in honor of Guy Fawkes Night. Martin promises that he will come to it and support his girlfriend. Beth admits that the police now consider Martin to be the main suspect, not her. Random tells Martin a story about a man named Howard Green. The police found a diary in his house, which described in detail 14 ways to take his own wife's life. There were ridiculous, brutal, and brilliant ideas. Green was sure that the ideal crime is not one that remains unsolved, but one that another person is accused of. Surprisingly, Green did not take his wife's life. It was she who attacked her husband when she found his diary. The jury read Green's diary and found his wife not guilty. It wasn't until many years later that it turned out that this diary wasn't written by Green, but by his wife's lover. This is what the perfect crime looks like. Martin complains to Lorna that the police now consider him a suspect. He is also very offended that Lorna was a lover of Random, and even here he takes second place. Potterov gets drunk right in the classroom and starts bullying. Martin tries to calm his friend down and takes him outside. Potterov gives him a note with the words Henry Wilkins. This is the name of the person who solved the most difficult mathematical problem in the last 300 years. Potterov claims that 8 years ago he solved this theorem himself, but Random called his idea absurd. Guy Fawkes Night is coming. There is an interesting dress code here. Seldam meets with Martin and tells him the story of Guy Fawkes. Turns out that this man was a local revolutionary. The festive concert begins. Martin notices Potterov. This guy is acting very suspiciously. Martin chases after him. The police are doing the same thing. But it turns out that Potterov only wanted to hang an offensive banner on the roof of the school. While everyone is chasing Potterov, one of the orchestra musicians suddenly falls. He had spontaneous respiratory arrest. A triangle pattern is found on his music stand. The news is about the brilliant mathematician Henry Wilkins. It was he who managed to find a solution to the famous Bormat theorem. Hundreds of mathematicians from all over the world are traveling to Cambridge today to witness this sensation. Seldam, Martin, and other mathematicians board a bus to Cambridge. They also want to attend this conference. Martin notices Lorna on the street and jumps off the bus to stay with his beloved. They reconcile and decide to spend their vacation away from Oxford, mathematics, and the village. After talking to Lorna, Martin runs to the library. He realizes that the criminal is leaving a sequence that consists of Pythagorean symbols. This means that the fourth symbol should be a tetractys consisting of 10 dots. In one of the books, Lorna reads that the smartest people in the world use the mentally retarded for their terrible experiments. Martin remembers a religious fanatic from the hospital and thinks that he might be the culprit. Martin and Lorna run to the police. Investigators are still convinced that the criminal hates Seldom and is personally taking revenge on him for something. They suspect that the bus carrying Seldom and other mathematicians could be attacked by someone, and they send a lot of police cars and even helicopters after it. The police stop this bus, but there is nothing suspicious there. Meanwhile, another bus is traveling along the same road. The religious fanatic is driving. It turns out that this man works as a driver at a school for children with intellectual disabilities. He considers his students unfit for life and wants to get donated organs to save his daughter. That's why the man blows up his bus. The police decide that this religious fanatic planned to survive the explosion. He committed other crimes so that everyone would look for some mysterious killer, and he himself could escape punishment. Lorna and Martin are about to leave Oxford. Suddenly, Martin realizes with horror that Seldom has been deceiving him all this time. Upon hearing about the village, Lorna walks away in disgust, and our hero goes to meet the professor. He tells his idol that he has finally solved all these crimes. So, Beth got tired of taking care of her sick mother and got rid of her. In a panic, she sent a note to Seldom asking for help. But Seldom arrived at the same time as Martin and could not remove the traces of the crime. So he made up a story about getting a note from a criminal so that the police wouldn't arrest Beth. The man in the hospital died of natural causes, and Random simply made a false injection mark and left a second symbol. The accident at the concert was also a tragic accident. It was then that Random drew the third symbol. The professor admits that this is true, but he didn't take anyone's life, which means he can't be blamed for anything. However, Martin notices that a religious fanatic who was a bus driver was inspired by these crimes and decided to blow up his bus. Now our hero is sure that the numbers are lying too. Mathematics is absurd, confusing, random, and messy. Seldom replies that he is not the real culprit, but Martin. Beth was in love with him, and Martin advised her to change her life and become free. And she did it. This is how the butterfly effect works, which flaps its wings and causes a hurricane on the other side of the world. It was Martin who became that butterfly.